going to continue with the exponent rules that we've been learning. And now we're just going to pile them up on top of each other. We're going to have all of those rules and I have to simplify a much more complicated problem. So let's go through this one here, and what we'll see is we remember, hopefully, that a power to a power, this is the same as y to the fourth times another y to the fourth, but our shortcut was we can take, if we take a power to a power, we just multiply. So 4 times 2 would be 8. Now in our last lesson we saw what to do if we had one of the same base over top of each other, we could subtract them. And so 8 minus 6 would be 2. Okay, so always pause and try if you want to. Power to a power, I'm going to get m to the 20th because I have a power to a power, and that's over m to the 7th. Okay, so now I have 20 over 7. That's our shortcut was you're just subtracting. You could really list them all out and cancel, but you're really just subtracting, and we'd get m to the 13th. Okay, pause it if you want to try. K to the second to the 6th power, would you multiply those? Now I can subtract them. Okay, so let's start with this one. The bottom here needs some cleaning up. So I've got b to the 12th, and 2 to the 6th power is b to the 12th. Okay, you could cancel these, and you're going to get, well, let's do it by the shortcut because I want to show you. So that would be b to the 0, which we learned is 1. Okay, so we've got n to the 12th. This bottom needs to be cleaned up a little bit. That's also n to the 12th. So you already know where this is going, but that's n to the 0, which is 1. They're just doing the same thing again. X to the 15th over x to the 15th. You're going to get x to the 0. You're going to get 1. Okay, now here's one of our other rules that we learned from the last lesson. If we have an exponent like this, we can give it to the top and to the bottom. So, well, they probably did this, but I'll just do it. So here's what I'm saying. We can give that second power to both the top and the bottom. Now this is supposed to be a 4. Now a power to a power, we multiply. So I get y to the 18th over y to the 8th. Now we can subtract y to the 10th. Okay, so I'm going to give this exponent to both the top and the bottom. Power to a power is r to the 20th over r to the 12th. Now we subtract them. We get r to the 8th. Okay, v to the 6th to the 3rd power over v to the 4th to the 3rd power. So we power to a power, we just multiply. Now we subtract. So v to the 6th. Okay, same thing here. Now let me see how they did it. Yeah, they're going straight to it. Okay, I'm going to try. I hope this doesn't mess you up, but I'm going to just try to do this right here without having to do each step. So I'm going to give this 4th power to both the top and the bottom. Well, j to the 2nd to the 4th would be j to the 8th power. And if I give that 4th power to the bottom, k to the 3rd now to the 4th, we would multiply those, and I'd get k to the 12th. Now these don't have the same base. This is j and this is k, so these are not the same thing, so I can't go any further. So if you need to, do it out longhand, but I'm going to try this again. So a to the 3rd to the 4th power would be a to the 12th. Now on the bottom, he's also going to get that 4th power. So b to the 2nd to the 4th would be b to the 8th. Okay, q to the 7th to the 3rd power. And r to the 5th will also get that 3rd power and become r to the 15th. All right, things are getting more complicated here. Let me see if we can use what they did. Yeah, that'll work, I guess. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, we're giving the exponent to the top and the bottom here. So our first step is we've created this. Now, do you remember everything here is being taken to the fourth power, so we're going to give it also to the 2. It's like we distributed it. So our first video on the exponents is where we talked about this. So this is really like 2 to the fourth power. Well, that's 16. And m to the second to the fourth becomes 8. Now we move to the bottom, and I'm giving that fourth power both to the 5 and the n. So 5 to the fourth is 625, and n to the fourth is just what you'd think, n to the fourth there. Now nothing, well, I don't know those numbers. You'd have to check to make sure the numbers in front can't just simplify, just like suppose you had a fraction like this, but in this case they don't. So I'll write it like this to make sure you see we're giving the square to the top and to all of the bottom. Now, when we saw this before, we're like distributing it. So the 7 gets squared, we'd get 49. And x to the third to the second power, that's multiplication, that's x to the 6th. Now down on the bottom here, if the square goes to the 9 and gets me 81. He also goes to the y and gets me y to the second. Okay, so let's write this again just so it doesn't get too confusing. It probably is already very confusing. So I'm giving the 2. So I just gave this, I broke it, I'm allowed to give it to the top and the bottom. So I did. Now on the top, I'm giving it to everyone inside of there. So 3 gets squared and becomes 9. And x to the fourth being squared means I multiply and get x to the 8th. The 2 goes to the 7, I get 49. 2 goes to the y, I get y to the second. Okay, things are getting really crazy now. So let's see if we can use theirs. Yeah, that's not bad. So I have 3 to the 4th. So we got a lot of cleaning up to do first. 3 to the 4th, you multiply. 2 to the 5th, multiply. So I'm multiplying those exponents. I don't think I should have said it like that. Multiply those. Now we go to the bottom and we multiply him. Okay, well there's still more cleaning up to do on the top. This is x to the 12th times another x to the 10th. That's when we add, and we get down to x to the 22nd. Now we're still not done. I got 22 x's on the top, 30 on the bottom. Now you could have subtracted it and made it x to the negative 8th, but they put it back down on the bottom. Okay, let's try our way through another one of these. So a to the second to the third power, we multiply those. A to the second to the fourth power, we multiply that. And we do the same on the bottom to get a to the 20th. Now the top isn't done yet, so we can add those up. There are 14 a's up there. So I just added them. Now you can probably intuitively see this if you canceled all the a's down, but let's just do it like this with our shortcut. It says it's a to the negative 6th. Well, let's put those back on the bottom. Okay, please pause if you want to try this. So p to the third to the fourth power, I'm going to multiply those. Now I'm multiplying 5 to the third power, I get p to the 15th. Now on the bottom, I'm multiplying those, get p to the 42nd. Okay, let's see, now we got to tidy up the top. We can just add those up. P to the 27 over p to the 42. Now, this one's a little strange. We've got a really big number on the bottom. That's going to be p to the negative 15th. So I guess I won't go back over. If you're having trouble with this, we talked about those at the beginning with the opposite signs. Okay, but I don't want to leave it as a negative, so I'm going to move it back to the bottom, make it p, 1 over p to the 15th. Okay, if you're not having fun yet, here we go. We're going to do some even more crazy ones with so all the properties just piled in there. I'm just trying to see if what they're doing is helpful. Man, it's not bad. Yeah, okay, so look at the top here. It's all to the second power. So that means everyone inside of there is going to get squared. So that's what they're doing here. I'm squaring the 10 and I'm squaring this. Now the same on the bottom. Everybody here is going to be to the third power, and everyone here is going to be to the fourth power. So they showed that pretty well. Now we would just tidy it up. That's 100. P to the third to the second is P to the sixth. And on the bottom we get all of this. So I guess we had this, and they multiplied these together. So let's multiply. So if we were multiplying these two things together, we would just multiply the numbers, and then we could add up the p's to make p to the 23rd. So we got one more step here. Well, they canceled all this down. So all of this got multiplied. So we got 100 divided by whatever that number is, and they reduced it. Yeah, let me do one. That wasn't very helpful. Let me take you through one. So here, I'm going to square everything inside. So that's going to get me 9. So 3 to the second is 9. R to the sixth, 3 to the second. Now let's do it again over here. R to the third to the seventh would be R to the 21st. Now on the bottom, I've got R to the third, that's R to the ninth. Now if we clean up the top, all we can do is put the r's together. So I've got 9 R to the 27th over R to the ninth. Now there's one last step. There's nothing I can really do with the 9, but I can subtract these guys. And I would get R, 9R to the, whoops, nope. I would get 9R to the 18th. Okay, I'd really recommend you try this one. Pause it. I'm going to start here. I'm given the fifth power to the 2. And what is 2 to the fifth? 32, I believe. And x to the fourth to the fifth power becomes x to the 20th. Now I'm doing it here too. The 2 is going to go to the 4 and make 16. X to the third to the second is x to the sixth. Now this other one, x to the third to the fifth, becomes x to the 15th. Now before we mess with the top and the bottom, let's clean up the bottom a little bit. I have 6 x's here, 15 there. I could add those up. I'd get x to the 21st. Now before we go any farther, let's go ahead and just 32 over 16 is, you could reduce that. They both are divisible by 16, or you could do all the factors if you wanted, but it's going to be 2 over 1. So I'm dividing 16 into both of them. I'm just reducing them like I just had this fraction. You could divide the top and the bottom by 16, or you could do the factor method that I've showed you before. Okay, so if I reduce that, this is what I have. Now, the x's are the same base, so I can put them together using our trick. At x to the 20th minus 21, I get 2x to the negative 1, and I'm still not done. Or you could have seen back here, we should have left an x on the bottom, which is the same thing this is saying. I should have moved the x down to the bottom. Okay, that's a lot. I know that gets really confusing, but if you can master that, you're in really good shape. Again, that's a skill. It never gets quite this crazy, but that's a skill that will be expected in the rest of your math career. So hopefully you feel strong with those rules. I think we'll have one more section about that coming up next.